Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And y'all, this is not a review. This is just some feelings that I've had, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually think I'm done with Real Housewives of Atlanta. Well, at least for a while. And let me just tell you why. Last night, I had DVR'd the show and had all plans to watch it, and I did. I turned it on, and I was about 15 minutes in, just waiting for the drama to start. And at that point, I was just like, you know what? I can't do this. And I cut it off. And I cannot believe that I did that. And I cannot even believe that I'm saying that I'm possibly done with the show. And let me just explain why. I have been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta from the very beginning, from the very first show. And what made me tune in to Real Housewives of Atlanta originally is because I had watched a couple of the other franchises, the ones where they had the white women. And when they had said that they were going to have one from Atlanta, and it was going to highlight wealthy Black women of Atlanta, I got really excited, y'all, because I was thinking, okay, finally, they're going to have a show where they're going to showcase, the upper class within the Black community, and I could not wait for the show to get started. Um, and the first season, there was a little drama, but the drama wasn't over the top. You know, a lot of the women on the show were married, so there was the housewives thing in there. And I liked it. I saw where at times they could be messy, but again, it wasn't over the top. You got to see these women interact with their husbands. You kind of find out what their husbands did for a living. You saw them throwing charitable events or shopping and throwing parties, and it was fun. But what I have watched over the seasons is each season a star emerges from the cast. And when that star emerges, the next season they have to do everything that they can to keep themselves in the spotlight. And what that means for them is they start selling out. Basically, they start acting out of character. The very thing that made us love them in the beginning, when they were just being their own genuine self, starts to kind of evaporate. Take Nene, for example. Remember in the beginning, oh my God, I love Nene. I thought Nene was just the realest of the bunch. Nene loved her family. She was funny. Um, and she just kept the show interesting. And I think that what happened to Nene is Bravo happened to Nene. After those first couple seasons, Bravo realized that they had a star in Nene. And they got in Nene's ear. And they start whispering, you know, you're the star. You're this. The other ladies can't hold a candle to you. You're what's keeping this show going. You. And then what happened is Nene heard that, and Nene almost felt like a sense of responsibility to be as outrageous as she could, to be as funny, witty, just the whole nine. And what it did to Nene is it took away that original charm that we all felt for Nene. Now, I'm not going to say we lost it with Nene, but we started seeing that Nene was changing. And we all would say, I wish Nene would just go back to the way that she was. And then as the seasons went on, Nene changed more and more and more until we had the rich bitch Nene. And then that Nene was just a shell of the original fun-loving Nene that we all love. Now, don't get me wrong, people still love Nene, and to this day, like I said, I blow hot and cold with Nene. Then you had on the original cast Sheree and what just the original cast. And the same thing happened with them. Each season, they had to be more outrageous than the last season. And it kind of took away from, what they originally brought to the show. And Bravo did that because they needed to keep those ratings up. They need to keep people coming back, tuning in, every Sunday or every, day that they were going to be on. And now, you know, you get us to the cast that we have now. And when I think of each one of them, I almost feel like they have totally sold out. And this is what I mean. Some things we should not air on television. Some things are so private, to a family that it should be left behind closed doors. When you think about each one of these women, Candy, um, Portia, Phaedra, Cynthia, Kenya, each one of these women have had a storyline that kind of made us cringe for them. Like, the whole story with Riley and her father, I just really don't think that that should have been aired. Even some of the parts with Kenya and her mother, it was so painful to watch Kenya kind of beg for her mother's love. And I could not hate Kenya during that time. My heart went out to her. Phaedra and Apollo when she was pregnant and he was being so mean to her. All the episodes where uh, Apollo was kind of flirting with Kenya, and even the stuff with Cynthia and Peter, and then Portia and Cordell. There were certain storylines, y'all, that when I was watching them, I was like, wow, I can't believe they are airing this on television. I felt like they went to those women and they said, hey, look, we want to do a storyline doing this, that, and the other. You're either in or you're off the show. Or you're in and we'll pay you this. And even though I truly believe that those women, when they were presented with those storylines, they probably paused for a moment and said, you know what? Oh, I don't know about this, but it means my job or it means a higher check. Even though I don't want to do this, I got to do it for the money, or I got to do it because if I don't, they're going to kick me off the show. So now we have this whole entire cast that is willing almost to do anything on screen to keep this show popular. I look at Sheree being the bone carrier. Now it's a funny kiki and she brings everything out and it's all shocking, but none of us in our real life would hang around with a woman that kept a whole bunch of shit up like that. I mean, think about it. In your group of friends, if you had a friend that sat with you and gossiped with you and then leave you and within an hour is with your other group of friends just telling everything, spilling everything that you just told her, you would kick that bitch to the curb. You would fuck her up and kick her to the curb. It would not be happening in real life. Sheree, somebody would have been done slap Sheree in her fucking mouth for carrying tales. Portia, okay? This whole thing with Portia and Candy. They would have argued, cussed each other out, fought or whatever, and they would no longer be fucking with each other. You got one woman accusing another woman of having sex dungeons, sleeping with another woman for 7 years, having threesomes with her husband, putting all that out there. Yet you go on trips with her and you still interact with her in real life, y'all. That would not be happening. You know what would have happened if your girlfriend or one of the women that hung out with you in the group had put all that shit out there about you, your husband, and your family. You would have whooped that bitch's ass or quit fucking with her. You would not have done it. Um, Even Cynthia and Peter. Cynthia had a reputation when she came on that show. She was this classy model, and she had been breaking men's hearts for years. In the opening show, we found out that several men had asked Cynthia to marry her. And she loved them and left them. Her child's father was the infamous Leon, and we got to see the interaction between those two and how they co-parented Noel, and we fell in love with the relationship that Cynthia had with Leon. And we, kind of said, why can't they get back together? But then we watched Cynthia's mom and her sister, not like Peter from the beginning, try to warn her over and over that maybe he wasn't the best guy for her, over and over. But Cynthia loved him. And despite what they said, she probably had misgivings, but the love for him overrode that. And she married him and then proceeded to have season after season of failed businesses, of, money missing and him doing things behind her back. And what we watched on television is the unraveling of the reputation that Cynthia bought with her as a model, a classy model. And it left us saying that Cynthia was all kinds of dumb and she let Peter do this and that and the other to her. And in the end, now we think of Cynthia kind of as a little harebrained, you know? I just think that these women, they have, as I said, sold their soul. And then sometimes I'm on social media and I read what some black women are saying about the show. They're very upset about the portrayal of some of the women on the show and how they allow themselves to be portrayed. They're very upset with Bravo, perpetuating this angry black crazy woman stereotype that, we all suffer from. And on the one hand, I agree with them, and on the other hand, I say, well, Bravo can't do anything that those women don't allow, to happen to them. Y'all, I really cannot believe that I'm sick of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want them to either revamp these storylines or get rid of some of these women for good. You know, get some new blood in there because actually the storylines are getting tired. Where else can Candy go with her storyline? She's been accused of everything this season. Where else can Cynthia go? Peter's out the door. Noelle and her have their own home now. What else is going to happen? Can they bring a man into her life and maybe spice up her storyline? Where's Kenya going to go? Is she going to just continue to be, bitchy season after season, just saying reckless things and, throwing shade at people and people hating Kenya? Where else can it go? Portia, how much ditzier can she be? You know, how much more shit can we watch? Her meeting these random men and, wanting to have this baby and looking all dumb on television. I mean, really, how much more storyline is there in Portia? Is she going to eventually meet a man and have a baby and, have this life that she wants so bad? Phaedra, Okay, Apollo's in jail now. The boys are growing up. Um, what more is Phaedra going to put out there about her life? What more would Phaedra be willing to do? Because, a lot of you say that Phaedra throws a rock and then hides her hand. Well, she's an expert at it. And if these ladies let her get away with it, then you know what? That's on them. Because when you think about it, Phaedra just sits back after she's done something and watches the shit unfold. And they let her get away with it. This whole thing with Portia and Candy, we all know that Phaedra started that, but no one's calling her on it. The only out and out drama that Phaedra has allowed to get out there, and I think she really didn't have any choice in the matter, was the shit with Apollo. Was the shit with Apollo acting a fool, the shit with Apollo flirting with Kenya. She couldn't control that because her man was out of control. But now that she's back in control, think about it. Phaedra is going to hold the reins tight where they don't, you know, or at least she doesn't put anything out that she could stop from going out. You kind of get what I mean? Phaedra has tried to cultivate this Southern Belle image. Now, we have seen several cracks in this little facade that she puts up for herself. But let's face it, Phaedra doesn't allow too much of her life to be put out there. Not the amount to the level or the amount that we want to see. So where does that leave her storyline? You know? If she's gonna lie, like you guys say, and and be phony and fake, everybody refers to her as Phaedra, then where does that leave her storyline? It goes nowhere, y'all. So my thing is this. I can't sit up and watch Bravo because y'all, in the end, it's Bravo that's doing this. Drag these women down through the gutter for a piece of change and not have any respect for what they're putting out there in the African American community. Yeah, we love the show. Yeah, Real Housewives of Atlanta is the most lucrative franchise of the Real Housewives franchises, but what are they doing to the women on the show to keep that going? Now, what I notice on the other shows, the other franchises is they will keep the original people, but every other season they bring in other people to shake up that cast, and it keeps their shows, I guess, interesting for the fans of their franchises. But with Real Housewives of Atlanta, they have dug in. And for some reason, if they bring other people on Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise, they really bring them on like as friends. They don't let you get into their storylines. They stick with the original people, so it keeps the show, a certain way. It's not bringing in fresh blood. Think of Marlo, and they really never follow Marlo's, gave her a storyline, and think of all the other people that they brought on Real Housewives of Atlanta. They really never allowed them to have a major storyline where it would freshen up that franchise. I hope that makes sense. I just know that I have several episodes of Real Housewives of Atlanta that I have watched some of the episode and didn't finish it off. So when the next one came on, I didn't know what was happening. And it's because like once the drama gets to be too much, I cut it off, y'all. So I'm missing a whole bunch. And last night I couldn't even muster the interest to watch it, to watch, Candy and Portia going at it. And I don't want them to be attacking each other like that. I don't want them to have this manufactured drama that Bravo is putting them through. I don't want that. You know, I want them to go back to the original premise of wealthy, Atlanta basically socialites. It's almost like they don't respect so much the women of Atlanta, because certain things with the women of other franchises, they don't really get deep down into their business like that. We've seen a lot of stuff, but it seems like with Atlanta, I don't know, and it might just be me, but it just seems like they're perpetuating an angry black woman or a crazy black woman stereotype, and that we're ghetto and we're ratchet, and even though we have money, we can get kind of low down and in the gutter. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know on Real Housewives of New Jersey, they act the fool, but that's a family drama, like with Teresa Giudice and all of them. I know on that show they get a little crazy, and they have exposed quite a bit. And I think Beverly Hills, or I can't remember which one where the guy committed suicide. I forget which franchise that was. But I don't know, y'all. I just think that I'm gonna finish up this season, and I might take a break from Real Housewives of Atlanta. So when I come back, it can be fresh to me again. It could be, exciting to me again, because these storylines, y'all, they have gotten so tired. And I see a lot of fans out there saying the same thing. Like, can we get some new blood in here? It's not that we don't still write for the original people that were on the cast, or we don't still write even for some of the newer people that's on the cast. We're just tired of these storylines. Bravo. We're tired of them. Some of this stuff is so far over the top, it's not even ridiculous. I mean, it's not even, it doesn't even make sense. I'm not even making sense because the storylines are so fabricated and over the top. So, y'all, let me just ask y'all a question. Do you have moments where you feel like this? You still like Real Housewives of Atlanta, but you just can't do it? Like me? Like, I still like them. And, I might cut it on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I can't watch this. And then I feel guilty because I get so behind on the episodes that by the time I do watch a full episode, I don't know what the hell is going on. So just answer that. Do you feel like that they need to? I think they really do need to bring back Nene. Now, a lot of people have mixed feelings about that, but y'all, Nene is from the original cast, and love her or hate her, she does bring something to the show. So I think they need to bring Nene back, and I think they need some new blood. I think maybe they should keep one or two of this cast and get rid of the rest of them. Tell me what y'all think, because I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I'm just sick of what this show has become, and I didn't even want to talk about all the lesbian rumors and stuff because it's getting ridiculous, y'all. It's getting ridiculous. It's almost unwatchable. Now, Real Housewives of Atlanta has its diehard fans. Even though they're disgusted at times with the show, they still try to support. And bravo, just for those fans alone, you need to add some spice and, clean up this cast a little bit, because this is starting to get totally, totally ridiculous. Y'all, I'm talking in circles right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put couple questions to you, and then I'm just going to get out of here. Do you think that they should do a total revamp of the cast? Do you think that they should scout out some women that are actually married, do have families, so it could get back to the premise of, at least a couple of women on there who are actually married with families? If they were to get rid of some of the women, which women do you think they should keep, and which women do you think they should get, oh, just get rid of, y'all. So with that, put that down in the comments, and if you can think of anything else about the show that bothers you, or you know you think should change, put it down in the comments, because I've been seeing a lot of my sisters out there that have been complaining about the show. And like I said, they have a loyalty. They just want some things to change. And I guess that's what I feel. Maybe I'm not totally done with them. Maybe I just want this shit to change. So with that, y'all, let me get out of here because I'm babbling, and I'm so curious to see what everyone says. So let it rip down in the comments. Vent. Say what you got to say. Blast characters. Tell me what you think. Alrighty, ladies. Thank you. And you guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.